As police sources tell ABC News, United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is dead after being shot in Midtown Manhattan.
So you're an upset nobody looking for a way to make serious changes in the world. But what do? You don't have any political power. You don't have massive amounts of wealth. You don't know any people in high places. Desperate, powerless, and unheard, you turn to a language that we humans have been using for years. Violence, better known as assassinations. Oh wait, you're just a peasant. How are you gonna carry out an assassination? Well, don't worry, Big Brother CIA got you covered, and in this video, I'll be reviewing the CIA's guides to assassinations. You need to understand what type of assassinations work best for you. Assassinations are broken down into several different classifications. If your target is unaware of his danger, then this is a simple assassination. If your target is aware that he's in danger but remains unguarded, this would be deemed as a chase. If your target is aware and is protected, then it's deemed as guarded. If the assassin is meant to die with the target, it's a lost assassination. If the assassin is meant to escape, then it's deemed safe. Either option is fine, just make sure the assassin never falls into custody. Another form of classification is caused by the need for concealment. If the assassination needs to be concealed and look like it's an accident or natural causes, the operation would be considered as secret. If concealment isn't required, it is to be an open operation, and if it needs to be public to be effective, it would be considered a terroristic operation. Following these definitions, the assassination of Julius Caesar, for example, was a safe, simple, and terroristic operation. Once you've figured out what type of assassination works best for you, you then have to make book.
So what their job would be is to conduct surveillance of a target, and they call it making book. They have to make book on that individual so they know exactly where the guy is.
Find out every little detail about your target, where they live, work, eat, what's their routine. All of this you can find readily available on the internet, such as LinkedIn or Instagram. Once you've made book, you can find the exact time and place where your target is the most vulnerable, and that's when you'll strike. Once you plan the variables out and you made book on your target, it's time to move on to the technique. What technique you use in order to eliminate your target is very important. For the case of a secret assassination, a blunt object or a commonly available object with a sharp edge will be highly favorable. For an open or terroristic assassination, firearms may be used. In the case of firearms, it's highly recommended that the assassin should have an expert knowledge of the firearm's range and lethality. Many assassinations such as Harriet Truman, Franklin Roosevelt, and Winston Churchill have failed due to assassins' poor knowledge of firearms and overestimating its capabilities. If you choose to use a firearm, keep in mind that the possession is often incriminating and they may be difficult to obtain. Ideally, you should use a precision rifle or shotgun. Avoid using pistols. While a pistol may seem like a perfect assassination weapon at first glance due to its easy concealment, it's typically overrated when it comes to lethality and range. If a pistol must be used, it should be as powerful as possible and fired just beyond reach. We, the CIA, suggest a .45 Colt, a .44 Special, or a .45 Clyde, or a .357 Magnum. We also suggest that the target should be hit with at least 3 solid shots in order to eliminate him. This rule doesn't change whether or not you decide to add a silencer, since pistols will still be the most effective just beyond arm's length regardless. Armed with this knowledge, you're now ready for your first hit. Your target, Brian Thompson. First, you start making book on Brian. You follow him everywhere, carefully logging his routes and routines. You discover that Brian is scheduled to attend an investor meeting at the New York Hilton in Midtown Manhattan. You already have your weapon of choice, a 3D printed ghost gun with a silencer that resembles a Glock 19. Not the best firearm, but for this situation it'll do. You calmly creep up behind Brian Thompson, slowly closing the gap between you and your target. You raise your weapons and... Congratulations, you officially carried out your first hit.